Received a package this morning which appears to be the motors, or the motor I should say, motor and controller. So I'll just put down the phone and I'll unbox it. Okay, I've unboxed the motor. Came in as typical sort of foam packaging, so nothing got damaged. And here's the pulley from yesterday. Now, to say these NEMA 34s are significantly larger than the NEMA 23s that are currently on there would be a little bit of an understatement. I just grabbed one of my spare NEMA 23s out of the shed, just for a little bit of a size comparison there. And as you can see, there is a significant difference there. That, couple of kilos, or 3-4 times the weight, probably 3 times the weight. Now to this pulley, which I was trying to work out whether I was going to try put it on that way or I was going to try put it on that way. The keyway, as you can see there, is already, they supplied it with a key in the keyway. The key is obviously at the front of the shaft, so I'm thinking I'll probably put it in its conventional direction. If I can get that on there. Tap them on by hand. And I've got, as I said yesterday, probably a couple of mil short. What am I? Probably 5 or so mil short there by the looks of things of the end. But there is plenty of grip on there. I think there was 23 millimeters I measured up yesterday, so probably about 18 mils worth of grip on that taper lock, which should be plenty considering there's not that much strain on this belt. And I'll put it on this way, so I'll lock that guy up. Now what I'm going to do in terms of, there's two trains of thought in terms of how I'm going to mount this thing. I was thinking possibly I could make a U-shaped piece that's one piece or two pieces that would go around there and sort of sit up this way, to then bolt to a back plate across this way. Or the other option that we were throwing around was to make a plate, a machine, CNC machine out this shape, slide the plate in from the back side, which would be the preferable way of doing it, and then I could bolt through that plate here. The only problem with that is this guy right here. Without me taking it all apart, I don't know whether, I don't really want to take it apart, so that might make that idea a little bit harder. The other issue with that as well is that because the bolt holes are fairly close, I would have had to machine this fairly tight to the motor in order to be able to have enough material left to be able to put a bolt hole through it and make it fairly strong. So perhaps that may, although that was my preferred option, may be out of the question. I really don't want to be putting the plate on the front side, because that obviously then means I've got to pull this guy out even further. And that in turn is going to mean that even less is going to be sitting on this shaft on the end here. So that's, I think I'm going to have to go with that original U shape and have the plate mount at this side of things, which means I'm going to have to go back through my drawing and redesign it all. So that's it for now. Just had a little bit of an afterthought in terms of how to address this problem. If I was to make this blue plate a little bit thicker and then put some holes in the top side here, drill and tap the plate, I could just make this top piece removable, slide the motor in and then bolt it in place, and that might still allow me to retain this design. While I'm here, I may as well just flip this around and show you how the pulley system's going to work, or the idler system's going to work. The idea is to have an idler either side of the motor, and then have another idler at the bottom here just to keep the slop out of the bottom belt. This one on this side will be fixed, and this side here will be adjustable, so they can pull in to tighten up the belt, and they're pulling towards each other, which means that it's not pulling on any of the bolts that mount it. Okay, that's it. Just got off the phone with a friend of mine who made a very clever suggestion, overlooking the obvious. He suggested that when I do the profile cut, that I just actually profile cut around that little piece there where the wires come out and just slip it on that way. I will have a little bit of a cutout here where the motor is, but that really doesn't make too great of a change to it because it will be bolted up with 4 bolts. 3 of the sides will be fairly flush up against it, and that looks like the simplest solution, so we're going to go with that.